times, you know?
Sure does.
Yeah. So, hi, everybody. Thanks for checking out today's episode of the Agree to Disagree show. We are here on the New American Media because the old American media has failed us. Of course, you know that, which is why you found us in the first place. You're tired of getting your news from sources that, aren't giving you accurate information, Blake. I don't know. I used to live a lot of my life when I was a kid, elementary, middle school, and you just I thought that the news was telling you what was happening. I had no idea so much of it was fake. When did you figure it out?
Probably by the late 90s. I pretty much gave up on most of it. There's some decent stuff, but yeah, CNN was actually just headline news, and that was pretty good. You could just leave that on anywhere, airports, bars, and what have you, and it just kind of gave you a general feel of what was going on without all the political spin. That was great. That was kind of the glory days for me. Yeah, during the 80s and 90s, I suppose, and then it really went downhill. Sorry, I thought Fox was an abomination when they first started, and through the 2000s and the Bush administration, and then later Obama, and then we saw the big switcheroo from the corrupt Fox to the corrupt MSNBC, and CNN went full radical, and then they were both bad, and Fox kind of redeemed himself for a while, but without getting in too much in the weeds. They're still better off right now than MSNBC or CNN, definitely. But yeah, that's why we do our own news, Brian, because we don't really trust a lot of those outlets. Some of them have a few good people and cover things well, and sometimes they spin things. There's nothing 100%, including us. I think we have a really good track record, but occasionally we do get things wrong. But at least we're open and we're transparent about it. And
yeah, I can't think of a single story, Blake. I can't think of a single story that I would choose to continue to put out information that I know to be incorrect. Is there a single issue that you can think of that you would continue to push a story that after finding out that the information you have is incorrect?
Absolutely not. That's why we're independent. Because if we worked for a network and they'd be like, no, you guys can't say that on the air. You will defend this, or we're going to lose all our sponsors. So you better say to mask up and to go get your vaccines, or your show is history. So what is it going to be, gentlemen? You want to go on the unemployment line, or are you going to say just wear your masks, take the vaccine, listen to Fauci? That's how the corporate media works. So you get in line, you read the teleprompter, you smile for the cameras, don't make waves, don't get sued, don't get backlash, and you'll be all right, kid, and you'll go far.
All right, kid. Well, here we are. It is Thursday, June 29th, 2023. That's Blake Walley. I'm Brian Engelman. Make sure you're following Blake. He's on Twitter at TV's Blake Walley. And The Next Level News is his site. We are The New American Media. Search for The New American Media and The Agree to Disagree show on all of the places, and you will find us in most of them. We're trying to add more each day. But without further delay, let's jump into the biggest news of the day. The Supreme Court, Blake, made a fantastic decision to strike down affirmative action. Would you agree or disagree with the following phrase?
Fantastic might be a little much, but let's just run with it. So how about, let's just say it's going to be an overall positive. I suppose it's going to be a hot button issue, and it's creating waves of controversy, and it is, probably the top story trending around social media for people to battle over.
And here we are. So the Supreme Court has now ruled that colleges and universities can no longer take race into consideration as a specific basis in admissions. A landmark decision that overturns long-standing precedent that has benefited Black and Latino students in higher education. Well, that's interesting how CNN puts that. Black and Latino students. The point of this, I believe, was about Asian students in particular being discriminated against. They had to go exceedingly above and beyond that of some of these other selective groups. So Chief Justice John Roberts wrote the opinion for the conservative majority, saying Harvard and University of North Carolina admissions programs violated the Equal Protection Clause because they failed to offer measurable objectives to justify the use of race. Wow. What a world. The opinion claims that the court was not expressly overturning prior cases authorizing race-based affirmative action, and suggested that how race has affected an applicant's life can still be part of how their application is considered. That carve out's really wonky. They're just gonna brand it something different, it seems. Shared experiences or life experiences, I think is what they're calling it. But liberal justices slammed the opinion in their dissent, saying the decision will make it practically impossible for colleges and universities to take race into account. Good. The University of Michigan had this big case back in the day, a couple decades ago. It's just. Let me continue here. I want to pull up a couple of stories or a couple of comments on the New American Media Twitter page. So follow us on Twitter. We're at American_media_. Let me switch this article here if the lagging software program will allow, as I've clicked it 3 times and it's still not. There we go. The New American Media share. Okay. So just a couple of, instant feedback from some people, maybe interesting takes on the situation. This Sean Davis here says, I understand that the SCOTUS affirmative action decision on university admissions is the beginning of the war, not the end. The university cartel, which is responsible for much of the DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion nonsense being foisted upon the country from every major institution of power, is not going to just stop being racist. Identity-based exclusion is built into the firmware of the college credentialing machine. What you should expect to see is what left-wing states do when SCOTUS upholds and enforces the Second Amendment. They will either ignore the decision or change 1 or 2 tiny things on the margin to pretend they've complied and then force the victims of their lawlessness to spend another decade or 2 trying to get the original decision enforced. Man, this is so well said. DC has been doing that with Heller for 15 years now, and New York is in the process of doing it with Bruin. The college cartel is no different. Let me see. I had another tweet or 2, and then I'll throw it to you, Blake, for your more developed take there. Donald Trump weighing in. This is from ALX. Donald Trump saying this is a great day for America. People with extraordinary ability and everything else necessary for success, including future greatness for our country, are finally being rewarded. This is the ruling everyone was waiting and hoping for, and the result was amazing. It will also keep us competitive with the rest of the world. Our greatest minds must be cherished, and that's what this wonderful day has brought. We're going back to the all merit-based, and that's the way it should be. I think I had one more here, and then toss it to you, sir. I think, if it will. A little slow on the clicking. Let's just go with those. Blake, because I know we have a lot of news to cover today.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, just any additional thoughts on this? This is a massive ruling with massive repercussions that are going to flow outside of the college space. You can really feel almost a shift of the Overton window is what it feels like. It's really they push DEI and all of the special exclusionary group club things on everybody for so long. This is a massive shift of that 10-yard line on the football field, at least in my opinion, Blake.
Well, yeah, maybe I'm not grasping the entire magnitude. I know a lot of people are saying this is, landmark, it's monumental. It's certainly a surprise for the Supreme Court to all of a sudden come out with this. I don't know if anyone saw this one coming. It's kind of like they ruled on Roe v. Wade last year and took people. It was leaked, so people knew it was coming. But it's surprising that they were going to vote for it or during the election campaign. So very interesting. I know that there's trying to find the both sides thing. I know that there's reasons they put this in, and they're on the other extreme end. There were probably times when people were discriminated. against, or when they showed studies of people that would apply for jobs depending on what their name is, whether their application was taken seriously or whether it was thrown away. But at the end of the day, the best people should be selected for whatever needs to be done, and they shouldn't be any discrimination. But you can't just make it. There's reverse discrimination, I guess, too, if you're taking weaker candidates over better ones just because they're of a certain group than the others. So trying to strike that right balance, and I hope that it's going to work out for everybody.
Yeah, and you've heard it said reverse racism or reverse discrimination. It's just discrimination. It's just, and you know this, Blake. I'm a big stickler on words and phrases, and I've dealt with that. I've written articles about that. There is no reverse racism. That implies that racism is only white upon other. That's complete malarkey. To follow dear leader with his verbiage there, picking out fun words to use. But yeah, this is fascinating that we've reached this point. There are laws on the books galore that protect people, that have really balanced and corrected some problems with how America has operated fundamentally in various avenues, various facets of our society. We're in a completely different place in 2023. Something like affirmative action probably gave quite a few people a heads up. As Jocelyn saying, she remembers working under someone who got the job as a manager simply because of affirmative action, and it was the worst job ever. See the Peter principle. The Peter principle, of course, is a person rises to their highest level of incompetence and then stays there. They don't go backward. They just stay at the place that they suck. Well, I mean, look around, ask around. Scott Adams has talked about multiple job opportunities working with AT&T, and it's so interesting that we've reached this point. I'm going to tweet about it more at American_media_. I just want to get a lot of people's takes on it, because there's a lot of nuance, and we're trying to figure out exactly how far the butterfly effect is going to move now that this has happened. So it's kind of breaking. It's kind of new. We're all figuring it out at the same time. I just it's a great day for merit-based life. It's a big blow on that Overton window of DEI that's moved to the 1 yard line. You can't go any further down the left side than they have. I mean, this radically takes that 10-yard marker and shifts it somewhere back. I'm not saying to midfield. I'm not saying to the other 1 yard line, but it yanked it away from the end zone, because this constant obsession with the Democrats and academia, dividing people by race and who they choose to touch in their private parts. It's gone way too far. Maybe at some point, some of that was needed to kind of break through some discrimination and some prejudice and some issues that was, we're kind of crippling the success of the nation. You saw in Donald Trump's message there on Truth Social, it makes us competitive. It really kind of gets us back to what is going to help this country succeed on a global scale. You succeed by kicking ass in life. You succeed by being responsible. You succeed with work ethic. You succeed by leveling up your talent stack and your skill set. That's how you succeed. Stop talking about race already. Hallelujah. What a great day. That's my initial quick thought. I'm open to considering all of the ramifications and the negatives, but for now, wow. Eyes peeled. I think there's more coming from the Supreme Court. We've had some doozies over the past years, as we've mentioned. So anyway, wanted to lead with that because I'm fascinated. So leave your opinion. What do you think? Type it in the comments and leave it on when we put it up on Rumble and YouTube. Let us know what you think. Are we missing something? We're all ears. So anyway, let's move on to some of the other stories. This is going to be a barn burner of a show today, Blake. So
we got it short and sweet. Yeah.
Keep it frosty. Here we go. All right. The never-ending calamity, which is the third Barack Obama term in office with this meat puppet, Joe Biden, the perhaps the most corrupt politician in American political history. Every day, more and more stuff is coming out on this one. Blake, do you agree or disagree that Hunter Biden deserves bigger punishment for excessive tax evasion?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that. He was in stealings that people didn't know about. He was hiding his money through all kinds of shell companies and what have you. with his associate Tony Bobolinsky and a few others and a whole family. And they were involved in a lot of shady stuff, tens of millions of dollars. And they did not claim that. They didn't file. So he's got a lot of trouble. So they can't just slap him down with a couple of misdemeanors and toss it out of court. So there should be something bigger if they're going to do an equal application of the law. This is a massive corruption scheme at the highest levels, and they obviously want to try to protect Hunter and the Biden family and the sitting resident of the White House. So they're going to try to make these sweetheart deals, but they can't. They can't. They're not applying things equally. They're protecting him, and then they're going after Trump for everything. And it doesn't make any sense to a neutral observer unless you're part of the kleptocracy and you're trying to protect your own. So
yeah, the intelligence agencies, academia, law enforcement, these have to be neutral. These need to be neutral facilities. These need to be places where the goal is more important than your personal pet projects, and we have lost that. To try to understand why this is such a big deal, I mean, they have weaponized the Democrat Party and a lot of the rhinos, for that matter, that have been blackmailed, compromised, or bought and paid for domestically and from foreign enemies. It has been the exact opposite for a really long time, and at least now there really is no lying about. There is no hiding it. It's all in the open. Jocelyn saying here, she's getting really tired of hearing the same news about Hunter for the past 2 years. When are we going to take some action? If it were me or you, we'd be wearing orange right now. Yeah. So it's interesting, but that's what happens. That's what happens with stuff like all these shady business dealings. One of the biggest problems in Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, it's like, what do you do with all the cash? Where do you put it? How do you hide it? Laundering money, it's an art form, according to a lot of these shows. And who knows better than the Hollywood bigwigs that are involved with the Democrat Party? They're fantastic at it. Now, not to say that Republicans aren't slime bags that will sell their soul and sell their mother for a couple of pieces of silver, because we all know that to be true. But yeah, this is taking on new levels. Blake, what do you have here to give us the latest updates? Every single day, it's more Hunter news, and he's still not arrested. He's still not in jail. We're waiting. So what is the exact latest here? That people are getting annoyed about the plea deal, and the DOJ interference essentially is the main one.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of it. So what this is, Alan Dershowitz was saying, the famed constitutional lawyer, that there should be pressure on this judge to reject the Hunter Biden plea deal amid the evidence of the Department of Justice interference. It's pressure growing in congressional, legal, and media circles for the federal judge in the case to reject his plea deal, which would spare the first son from prison time after evidence has emerged from two IRS whistleblowers that a more serious criminal tax case was sabotaged by the Justice Department. So that is perhaps a major problem, and that's with this whistleblower is IRS supervisory agent Gary Shapley. And actually, he was on Brett Baer just the other day. In fact, I can run a clip here. Here he is, revealing how the Department of Justice gave a sweetheart deal to Hunter Biden. Yeah, giving him misdemeanors for things that most people would go to prison for years for. And he's getting just a slap on the wrist, as we covered last week. But he actually received at least $8.3 million from China, Ukraine, and Romania between 2014 and 2019. So let's roll. This is a very quick clip, and actually it's from your guy that you just covered there, Brian, ALX. Here we go. Let's run this. Wait, I thought I had a different one. Oh, wait, here we go. That's the 44-second version. Let's.
Yeah, all right.
Come on.
There criminal
Can you hear it?
implications in what you were investigating
Yes.
when it comes to Hunter Biden?
Oh, absolutely. And the most substantive felony charges were left off the table.
Which would have been what?
Which would have been evasion for 14, false return for 18 and 2019. So as of right now, in the information that's been out there in the public, it uses a term in excess of $100,000 for 2017 and separately for 2018. The true number is $580,000 of failure to pay for 2017 and $620,000 for 2018. Yet this document puts it close to $100,000.
Okay. Well, that's some pretty major stuff. So it would seem that there should be a much higher punishment. And if it was anybody else, they would feel the wrath of the federal government. But when you're the president's son, you get the sweetheart deal from the Controlled Department of Justice. So,
and it's all out in the open. So what's going to come of it? What is going to happen?
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I'll just say what's going to happen. At least there's still pushing for it. Yeah, it's a lot to unravel. We do have top House Republicans pledging the investigation and some strongly worded letters into the IRS whistleblower allegations. So, yeah, James Comer and Jim Jordan, Jason Smith released a joint statement promising a full investigation from the whistleblower allegations. So wheels are in motion. It's just going to take a long time. So I don't expect an immediate result soon. But Hunter is not out of the woods yet. That's for sure. And we'll see what happens with the judge, whether he wants to refuse this deal as well.
Were you intending for that to be a wonderful pun about Hunter in the woods?
Yeah, it almost kind of came together there. I didn't really mean to it, but it kind of fell into place. Not quite like I scripted it beforehand. No, I did not. But sometimes it just happens. What a world.
What a world. All right. Well, we're going to keep our eyes peeled on it. Once again, a new day, another Hunter revelation that we all know about. It's all right in our faces. They're laughing at you while they're showering with their daughters, while they're hooking up with their dead brothers' wives, and the collusion and blackmail and treason and bribery, corruption at the highest level. All of it. It's all there. It's all there. We're not even talking. It's all right there. The kid sniffer and his kid Hunter. What more do we need to see? What are we waiting on? When are the adults going to come in the room and adjust what's happening here?
Well,
I don't know.
Yeah,
but we're living in a cuckoo clock because nothing happens yet again today. Oh, no, trust the plan. They're working. They're going to write a strongly worded letter. Okay.
Well, here's the thing. This is what's interesting. The IRS to themselves independently came up, ultimately recommended 3 charges against Biden for a $2.2 million of unreported income from foreign sources, a felony attempt to defeat or evade tax charges, making felony fraudulent or false statements, and willful failure to file returns, supply information, or pay tax. Serious charges that would land an everyday American in prison 4 years and who knows how many fines. And they're just trying to hit him with 2 misdemeanor tax charges. So, total double standard, hypocrisy, corruption, and it needs to stop.
Well, we're talking about hypocrisy and corruption. Let's move on to the next story because this one's about Donald Trump. Same situation, other side of the coin. Same denomination of currency, other side of the coin. Let's get to this. Mr. Walley, do you agree or disagree that Trump's charges should be dropped by prosecution team after leak?
Yeah, looks like they should now. It looks like this thing is unraveled, backfired. I don't want to say backfired, but it really fizzled out. The media was trying to make this with a huge deal. Oh my God, they found this tape and they've got Trump on record bragging about his classified documents and showing super classified intel to people candidly in Bedminster, New Jersey. But it turns out that wasn't really even a part of the process. So this is interesting to note. And this is from Becker News, CBS backtracking on the explosive audio tape. So the bombshell revelation was dropped in the midst of a news cycle that has turned decisively on Joe Biden. Yeah, after all the pressure and the bad weekend and the WhatsApp messages getting exposed. All of a sudden, they try to distract everybody and say, "Oh, look, Trump, this is some more stuff." So they found a tape of their own, but that wasn't like part of the records that they were actually looking at. So multiple sources previously told CBS News defense attorneys were not certain that the memo in question was ever recovered and returned to the government. And as former senior DOJ official, the way it might be analogous to try to prove a murder case without a body. So the Iran memo was not among the 31 records underlying charges in the federal indictment. So it doesn't even matter. And they also, found out like he declassified these things. They had the timestamps, the dates. He did this a week before he left the White House. So he was legally allowed to declassify these documents, and they make a huge deal about this Iran thing, but that wasn't part of the underlying charges. So why would they leak this whole thing? So CBS News learned that Trump has not been charged for keeping the document he's talking about on that tape. It's according to CBS. Special counsel Jack Smith's office declined to answer our questions about the Iran memo or the audio tape. And then we have Charlie Kirk reported that a witness to the Bedminster meeting testified he did not recall Trump showing the documents. I mean, that's not a huge deal, but it is a huge deal. They made a huge deal out of absolutely nothing. It sounded damning, but it really wasn't.
It never sounded damning to me. Not once,
Right.
Not a single time. He's the president. He's the commander in chief. He's the George Washington on the battlefield of Earth, trying to run this country. He declassified it all. He caught them all. He had it. He declassified it by taking it. What have we ever even been talking about? The two-tier justice system is Hillary was not president. She had how many tens of thousands of classified files on a private server that were being hacked and accessed by God knows who. All verifiable, all proven, thumbed her nose at the process, got out scot-free and ran a campaign. And they're trying to kneecap Trump. I just don't get why they keep doing this. I don't get the people that keep falling for it. The people that are watching, I don't know, the CNN and the MSNBC and even the Fox these days. Fox is trash. I don't really understand who's still falling for this. Like you said, that's what they do with Trump. They blow things out of proportion. Yep. Every single time. Is anyone still surprised by this? I guess maybe I'm giving too much credit to the American people. Maybe I'm being foolish. Maybe I'm being foolhardy here for thinking that most people are seeing through this because it's the world I live in. I don't buy any of this. Maybe the American people don't deserve that much credit. I don't know. I don't know that the spell of these lying legacy media companies is strong enough to keep feeding them lie after lie, and they keep coming back to the trough like filthy pigs looking for some more slop to shovel in their mouths. And then they lounge out on the couch and then pass out for the night. I don't get it, bro.
Yeah, you'd think they'd have to stop. They'd have to tune out because they're just making them look bad because they're getting them to believe in their misinformation and they're spreading it. And then it turns out that it's not. They're just spreading corporate propaganda or DNC or what have you. But the Department of Justice has been weaponized against us. And just to finish up this article, if the DOJ can't produce the document, and the selectively leaked audio would amount to nothing more than election interference and an
hands down 100% yes.
Right. Yeah, so it's an illegally leaked smear during his criminal trial. So therefore, I will go ahead and agree that they need to dismiss this thing, just like they did with Alvin Bragg. So we'll knock this one down, and we'll see what they have next.
MJ Sedona saying, will there be consequences as Trump's lawyer suggests? Well, she doubts it. Hunter wears Teflon suits, and all the Bidens wear Teflon suits for that matter. Nothing ever happens to them in their obvious crimes. Dr. Jekyll says, hey, that's disrespectful to John Gotti, which is kind of funny. But yeah, call it what it is, a whole round of attempts to get Trump. So, all right, we shall see. we shall see where this goes, and we shall see if this gets thrown out or tabled, just like the Bragg thing. And get ready, because you're going to have Washington D.C. They're gonna indict Trump, likely. That's my guess. D.C. is going to indict Trump for some January 6th nonsense, instead of Pelosi and Bowser for their complicity and what they did. You're going to see it in Georgia. You're going to see it in Georgia, likely. That's my guess. That's my estimation. So let's see if these first two fall apart. Are they going to still go through with two more of these ridiculous ones? Did they lead with their strongest ones? Did they lead with their weaker ones? I don't know. It's all trash to me. So.
Well, this was huge for them to actually raid Mar-a-Lago to get these documents. And then they make this, oh, look, we got the smoking gun, him bragging about this material that he said, we didn't have, or was, and then it turns out to be nothing. You would think they'd have a better case before they made that stuff public, or they would think about this more carefully. But I mean, I guess they're just insulated and they're thinking about themselves. And they just think, wow, can you believe this? Let's leak this to the media. They're going to have a field day. Or maybe it was just the ultimate distraction from, Joe Biden and his son and all of their scandals. And they kind of overplayed their hand here. So it might have backfired.
God bless all of these people for overplaying their hand. In fact, that might be the hubris and the gall, the stones on these people. Maybe this could be the redeeming characteristic of the deep state cabal, the group of people who are seemingly ruining just about everything for just about everybody. Maybe their insatiable quench, their thirst, their insatiable thirst to keep pushing too far. That's probably what's going to get them all in the end. Hopefully, but I'm seeing it more and more and more. It's never been this obvious in my lifetime. There've been things, there've been scandals, there've been events, and there's been information and corroboration. There's, we've all seen all, but it's never seemed so patently, blatantly, completely obvious what's going on. So let's see. Hopefully they keep pushing too far and they keep getting smacked down. So, smacked down. That's a figurative term. We're talking about legislatively, judicially. We're talking about politically, not literally, you fools. Okay, next story. All right, Blake Walley. Find him on Twitter at TV's Blake Walley. Do you agree or disagree that the CIA should be planted in social media companies to protect election? The election.
I would agree if I trusted the CIA, which I don't. They're just an extension of the establishment. They do serve a function, but not when they're run by the wrong people. So this is actually from Facebook. Brian, I don't know if you saw this, but it's pretty... Yeah, you got to see this to appreciate it.
I'm here for it.
It starts from the activist post and it goes to another article here, but they're not even hiding it anymore. Facebook putting a CIA insider in there as a head of their election policies. So Meta recently appointed Aaron Berman, ex-CIA, to take charge of its election policies. Berman, who previously led the misinformation team with the company during the 2020 elections, now, which should just automatically be disqualified right there, because it turns out that there was a lot of interference, but not from what you thought it was. So,
complete interference. The most blatant criminal interference in our election that we've ever seen. Yes, that kind.
Yeah,
right.
So if Berman was there, that means that he was also probably saying, the Hunter Biden laptop is a Russian disinformation story. And so he's probably engaged in election of interference, and they're terrified of Trump or another populist like RFK Jr. Getting elected, because there's going to be repercussions for all of these criminals that have perpetuated this fraud on the American people and censored their opinions on social media. So, but now this guy's going to occupy a prominent position with extensive oversight over elections-related content all across the globe. So I don't want to get into too much, but actually I can even carry that over. So speaking of RFK, YouTube is repeatedly censoring RFK as Democratic leaders demand reinstatement of the 2020 censorship. That's from the House Energy and Commerce Committee. Democrats dispute YouTube's defense of open debate on political ideas, even those that are controversial or based on disproven assumptions. So, yeah, YouTube is gearing up. Facebook is gearing up. And then hopefully Twitter will stay neutral. And, with Elon running the ship. So that's it's been a huge victory of sorts. So there are some alternatives because it's going to get ugly, and they're going to cheat, and they're going to crack down on people like you and me, Brian. They've pretty much throttled us for years.
Oh my God, have we been throttled? I mean, I try not to gripe about it too much because what are we going to do? But good Lord, are we down the memory hole? We are shadow. If you look up shadow ban in the dictionary, I mean, there's got to be a picture of you and I. I mean, we've got to be right there among the most shadow banned people creating regular, amazing content on the interwebs.
I just want to be able to see our file someday so I can get like that vindication. Like, yeah, they throttled those two guys because they didn't want them to get any more popular or spread their ideas or get monetized or any of that stuff. They've kept us down, and perhaps we can, I don't know, do something about that lawsuit or what have you, because they have really, it's taken a toll. But we still, the show goes on. This is, we got a bigger cause at play here. So about truth, justice, and the American way. So we're going to continue on that fight, even though it's a rigged game, and we'll just keep expanding into other venues, along with Twitter and Rumble or Truth Social or wherever that may be. But we got to get this job done. Everything rides on 2024. We cannot allow these people to manipulate the election. Let's say they've kind of toned down on how they're going to enforce 2020. You are, I guess, allowed to criticize it for now, but they're going to find new excuses coming up in the future, especially if Trump is still polling strong and RFK is gaining on Biden. They are really ready to crack down. They're panicking, and all the big money people in the kleptocracy are going to do everything possible.
Well, I've suspected this.
Yeah.
I've suspected that YouTube changed their policy on misinformation and disinformation. And by the way, anyone that uses those terms, you can usually assume that the next thing out of their mouth is going to be a lie or a piece of propaganda. But I've suspected two things. One, they're only doing that because when Biden or RFK Jr. or Gavin Newsom gets blown out of the water in 2024, they're going to nonstop lie about fake election interference. So they're opening the door because they see the tidal wave coming. My other suspicion is, well, what if they change their policy just so we could all be, oh, wait, permission to speak freely? Oh, well, here's what I've been thinking for 2 years. We all say it, and then they retroactively zap us because we said it during that month or two when they had their policy change. Just mark that down, bookmark it. We got a little more lax in the things that we were talking freely about, and let's see if they retroactively come snap our accounts. So, yes, it's never been more important to follow the New American Media on Rumble. Subscribe to us over there. On Spotify, our podcast, The Agree to Disagree Show, and Twitter, of course, at American_media_. Blake is at thenextlevelnews.com and on Twitter at TV's Blake Walley, Walley. Okay, anything else on this particular topic before we move to the next?
No, let's cut it there. We got a lightning round.
Perfect. Lightning round. So this is a very important story. Speaking of big tech, do you agree or disagree that big tech should censor anyone opposed to trans surgeries on kids?
I am going to disagree there, although that might be slightly misleading, but it's certainly in the ballpark. So let me explain. Let me pull up this story from Paul Watson. 250. I'm sorry, it's Steve Watson. It's PJW's brother at Summit News. 200.
That's his brother? He has a brother?
Yeah. But he's like, I think he's more like introverted. He's camera shy, so you never see him
Okay.
doing the vlogs. But he's been a prolific writer for years. They've been working as a tandem for a long time. So 250 Hollywood celebrities have now signed a letter demanding that big tech censor anyone who opposes trans surgeries on kids. So that might be slightly misleading, but that's definitely a part of it. So it's 250 woke Hollywood celebrities. I can pull up this from the article itself here, or from the source. The LGBTQ celebrities and allies calling on these companies about stopping hate and malicious disinformation about trans healthcare. So true allies do not profit from anti-LGBTQ hate. I can say that correctly. So they wrote it's an open letter. Mark Zuckerberg and some of these other people from Alphabet, that would be Google, YouTube, ByteDance, and Linda Yaccarino, going to be the new CEO at Twitter or X Corporation. So there's a huge list. They want to stop the hate and harassment and malicious anti-LGBTQ disinformation, and it must be addressed. Now, I will agree. I think that any hate, harassment, violence, things of that nature should be stopped. But if people want to criticize things, this is a free country. This is freedom of speech, and you should absolutely be able to talk about these things civilly without having to be feared of being shut down. So they've again, I think they're overplaying their hand. Yeah, they've got. Here's the list. Again, lightning round. I can't get into too many of the details here, but there's going to be problems on all ends. But I think most people are just looking to protect kids. So
it's genital mutilation, not gender affirming care. This flowery way to say we have perfectly working facilities inside of our house, our HVAC system and our plumbing system. We're just going to start chopping them up. We're just going to start slicing and dicing, and it's never really going to work right ever again. And you'll never feel the pleasure of air conditioning or the pleasure of a heating system again. You'll never have fresh running water. On this topic, I am hear me out. On this particular topic, I am pro-orgasm. I want humans to be able to experience as many healthy orgasms as possible in their life. And this genital mutilation ruins the ability of these people when they have their privates cut off, or they got things inverted, sliced and diced, and hot dogs and spun around and punching holes, and you got to keep cleaning it, and it gets all gunky and it doesn't work or function. No, I'm pro-orgasm. So protect the kids, so when they become older and they're able to develop this part of their body, they should be able to experience that. We decried the depravity of countries, continents, different factions of Al Qaeda, name the group, the Mujahideen, whoever it was, slicing off parts on girls so they can't experience any sexual joy. We decried that as abhorrent. It
is
vile, grotesque. I'm pro-orgasm. Leave the kids alone. If someone gets to 18 years old and they then decide they want to still go through with it, that's on you, pal. I wish you well. By the way, this shouldn't be funded by government. It should be funded by the states. This should be a certain personal choice. If it's so important to you to do that, you should be able to do that. Not on our dime. And the prisons shouldn't provide this and pay for it. If you can afford to do it on your own dime, do it at 18. Otherwise, leave the kids alone. You should be pro-orgasm.
Right. I mean, should these kids, if they're going to chop off their stuff when they're minors, shouldn't they at least be allowed to, get drunk first or get high first, or be allowed to drive a car for a while, experience, get some other experiences? It's amazing. These kids never had the joy of going through these normal rites of passage.
Yeah. Have a cigarette. Vote. Join the military. These are all things that people who,
before you get your genitals chopped off, yes, experience some of the other joys of life first.
Yeah, make sure you really know what we're talking about before you go to such
even before
drastic.
They have an orgasm. Some of them, so they wouldn't even know what they're missing. So it's it's just like you said, it's a perfect example of some of those hardcore Islamic places, and they mutilate them, and they'll never know the joy of it. So, and you're just stealing that.
Yeah,
from them.
that's because they don't want those dirty women to
Feel-
succumb to feelings of passion that may cause them to stray their eye away from their one and only. So yeah, let's mutilate their clitoris. That they will do, and that we've universally said this is vile. This is no. But yeah, let's, instead of doing that with women, that's vile. No, let's do it to a 7-year-old. No, that's totally cool. No, it's not totally cool. Be pro orgasm.
Right.
Oh, by the way, we're talking about surgeries and stuff. I just wanted to find out if Madonna was on that list, because
No.
she was found unresponsive. It's a news story. I don't know if she's out of a coma yet or if she's never going. I don't know the latest there, but that's something worth mentioning in today's show.
Yeah, a lot of these people I don't know. There are some bigger names in here. I'd have to go through the list, but most people would know these better than I do. I know Jamie Lee Curtis is on there, Patrick Stewart, which was kind of surprising for me, I guess. Star Trek Captain Picard. He's a great actor, but yeah, I don't like a lot of this stuff. So I don't know if they're being pressured to do that, or Alyssa Milano. You know, some of the usual suspects, the political people.
Milano, yeah, I mean,
but
she'll rubber stamp any goofy opinion. She's almost universally incorrect on her ideas, and anyway.
Absolutely.
But we'll dig into that later. We're running out of time. I don't think we have time for these 3 stories, right? You got to bounce, or do you want to highlight or just give me a sentence on each of these? You tell me.
Yeah, go for it. What do we got? There's probably not
Democrat
really much on the other
accusations
ones. Yeah.
Democrat accusations of fascism or purely political projections? Purely political projections.
Yeah, it certainly seems to be. And they keep throwing that buzzword out there about fascism, but I don't think they understand what it means. And yeah, it's talk about projection. They're Ron DeSantis, or if it's Donald Trump, they're always they're running fascist campaigns. But I mean, what are they like? Who are the real authoritarians in this world, or at least in the American political system as it stands? They keep throwing that around, but do they actually know what that means? And here's a great meme from you should follow this account, Liberty Cappy. Why can't you fascists just do what the government tells you? Yeah, it does seem to be like a great meme representing the modern left. And
please be sure to share that and tag American_media_. I'd love to share that. That's so true. They're so tone deaf. They don't even understand their self-owns. I'm not saying they made that meme, but this is essentially their perspective on life. And it's just, you get one great cartoon, one great meme, and it just encapsulates and sums it up. It's perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was calling a leftist fascist the other day, and somebody on the left called me out like, that's fascist. And so I got into it with them, and they ended up blocking me. As you can see, they couldn't handle it. But I was just off the top of my head, who are the real fascists? And then you look at these massive corruption scandals with, Biden or Hunter, or jailing peaceful J6 protesters, ignoring Antifa, the LGBT grooming, the drag queens in schools, secret transitional surgeries, puberty blockers, gun control, giving billions to Ukraine in a proxy war, forced experimental vaccines, no jab, no job, big tech censorship of opponents, arresting opposition leader Trump, white MAGA or racist domestic terrorists, fraudulent elections, stalling audits. I could go on, and I certainly could. So I'm just curious. So I called this person out. I said, please explain how Trump administration and MAGA Republicans are more fascist than the current crew of radical leftists masquerading as Democrats. But they can't, so they just have to block. They're full of it. And they keep throwing that out. They don't know what it means. And they, in turns, are the real fascists. They're authoritarians. They want to control, censor, take guns away, and mandate experimental vaccines. They've lost their damn minds. They're a menace, and they are the ones that are a threat to democracy, not us. So anyway, that's all I've got.
They're masters of projection, Blake.
Absolutely.
Everything they're trying to ding Trump for is what Biden and the crime family of Obama involved. That's what they've all been doing. It's pure projection. For
sure. But on that note, I have to run. Banking privileges, the social credit scores. They went after Niles Farage in Great Britain. He's a very outspoken, heroic guy who helped get Great Britain out of the European Union. They can't stand him. They think they tried to assassinate him by crashing his plane, and now they're shutting down his banks. So that's what that's what they're trying to do. They want to set up that system. So it's getting pretty terrifying, but you'll see those videos all over Twitter of him saying that. So that's the way that they're targeting conservatives, whether it's auditing or shutting down your bank or using PayPal to go after you for misinformation, all kinds of stuff. But I am going to be late for my next thing. Been a pleasure, everybody. Sorry we couldn't go further. We'll talk again next week. Looking forward. Everybody take care. Brian, good job. We'll see you next time. But I got
to be continued.
All right. Goodbye.
Peace out, Blake. Follow him. He's on Twitter at TV's Blake Walley, Walley, and thenextlevelnews.com. We are thenewamericanmedia.com because the old American media has failed you. YouTube.com/thenewamericanmedia. I think we're on Parler, the New American Media. I don't use it, but I should probably use it. Because I was just thinking, what is the backup for Facebook now? But Blake, we were actually having the conversation. He's like, well, we get a lot of people from his YouTube who log in here and watch the show. Well, Blake has had strikes and this and that. So if his YouTube isn't there, make sure you're following the New American Media and Agree to Disagree as well. So yeah, youtube.com/the New American Media, Rumble, the New American Media, Spotify, the Agree to Disagree Show, Twitter at American_media_. We're on Truth Social at the New American Media. I don't know. We're Instagram and Facebook. I mean, Instagram, we're the New American Media. Yes, Facebook is the one that deleted our company page. So we are TNAM's The Agree to Disagree Show. Good luck finding it. The search is usually kind of wonky. Maybe search my name, Engelman, Engelman. But yeah, there's a private Facebook group there called The Agree to Disagree Show where we kind of talk every day about the news of the day and have an ongoing conversation in between these live broadcasts. So just if you have a moment, please follow us in all of those places, both Blake and I. Because if one of these channels is taken down, like we were telling that story, Blake was reading about Facebook putting the absolute worst person in another CIA stooge to completely lie to you about what's really happening in the world and shutting down accounts of people who are being accurate or at least digging into the news stories that they don't want you to know about, lying about the Hunter Biden laptop being completely accurate. What is the Facebook substitute? I don't really know what the Facebook substitute is. I know we have, Operation Mockingbird never ended. It's weird. I'm looking here and I can't see all of the comments, but on the YouTube feed, I can see some of them there. And then they're kind of different ones. But when I go to chat and I'm trying to show you some of these posts, it's not showing them. It's weird. Technology is weird. But yeah, your beard's weird. So follow us in all of these. That's an Eminem reference. MGK. I digress. But I'm wondering what the Facebook substitute is. We've gone to Rumble because that's the YouTube substitute, but I don't really know what the Facebook substitute is. So type that in if you have a Facebook substitute that you think is fantastic. Yeah. So okay, Dr. Jekyll is saying good day, God bless, and he's gonna go spend some time with the wifey. Yeah, more power to you. You enjoy this Thursday. Enjoy it to your heart's content, good sir. But yeah. I appreciate you all joining me on the show. We wanted to get to this story, and that Nigel Farage story. I got to dig into that. That is terrifying, and we've got to stop this. We've got to nip some of this stuff in the bud, and really push back legally, judicially, politically, and we have to change the trajectory of some of this stuff. The addiction to power and control that some of these people have it's mind-boggling. But yeah, we're going to try to get to this story as well on Inflation Nation. The United States is getting too expensive to live in. It's a pretty damn expensive place, but then some people talk about abundance mindsets. Well, why? It's not that something's too expensive. It's that we just don't have enough money yet. So I get that. Yes, everything is getting more expensive because of inflation, because of poor policy, because of other market conditions that are all kind of converging at the same time, which is accurate. But once again, we're talking about affirmative action and that getting struck down by the Supreme Court today. The interesting component is, what does it do? It turns it back to merit-based. Nobody's excluded. It's not saying anybody of any particular sect is excluded from getting to school. It just means prove it. You want to be a baseball player? Hit the pitches. Make the throws. take the jump shots, play defense, hustle. You want to make the team, make the team. You make the team based on your efforts. And that's what that's what I really tried to impart on when I was living in Los Angeles. I fostered, I don't know, parental guardian, whatever they technically called it, for several months. When his guardian passed away and he came knocking on my door, a 10-year-old young man, I fostered him. And I helped get him through until he was able to get back with family and Child Protective Services, put him with, took care of that. But it took several months. And while I had him, I really tried. I don't know if any of it's going to take or not, but I tried. And I just remember vividly saying, look, man, you can listen to your teachers and people in politics that are going to say you're not going to be able to succeed because of this or because of that. And you're going to get a lot of excuses, and people are going to say, no, it's okay to, no wonder you didn't make it. Like, the system's rigged against you. Now, some of that may actually be true, like Inflation Nation here, that things are expensive. But you know what? It's not true. Don't ever let a limitation set by somebody else keep you from doing something you want to do. So, I'm kind of torn on that, because it's like, well, yeah, everything is too expensive. No, it's not. Not if you're making more money. If you're making enough money, nothing's too expensive. If you make a ton of money, very few things are too expensive. So it's a little bit of a mindset thing there. So anyway, that's a little bit more philosophical than analytical, as far as just reading raw data or bullet points from an article that Blake was going to reference. But anyway, I have thoughts on that, and I can expand on those more on the next show. So for now, I'm going to sign off. I appreciate you. I love you, from everybody here at the New American Media. To be continued.